Alrighty, for today, we will be turning this entire space into a nice walkway and paver patio, and we'll be telling you how to do so. Now we are laying out for our future walkway and patio. We get our right angle and then we square. We spray paint our lines and then we start our dig. First thing we do is dig the grass off. After the grass is entirely off, then we start excavating 8 to 10 inches down and we start wheeling in our densely graded aggregate, our DGA base. We want this to be 8 inches thick. We spread it. We compact it in 4-inch lifts. We literally use the machine like a third arm. Here we can't get our excavator back there and we can't get the dump truck back. So we literally have to wheel it back. So we dig as we go. We get our DGA and we compact it in 4-inch lifts. Here it is completely down, completely compacted with a plate tamper, a jumping jack, and the tracks of the machine and the bucket beating it down. Now, when you get DGA or densely graded aggregate down, the next thing you do is wet it. The wetting just adds to the compaction and makes it solid, very solid as a rock. Next thing we do is we get our sand. To get that, we put our poles in. They're 1-inch poles. We put them in with the right pitch. We do 1-inch poles because we want 1 inch of bedding sand and we screed back. The reason we use concrete sand as bedding sand is we'll be setting Teco block pavers. Teco block, for warranty purposes, require a concrete sand base. So it's 1 inch thick, just like they want. We start with our right angle and we work in. We start on the outside working our way in because we want our cuts into that existing little patio area that we're tying into. The homeowner wanted that to remain, so that's what we're going to do. This is the Eva Shale Gray Teco Block Paver with an Onyx 6x6 Valet ribbon. So we're doing the patio part first. There's our cuts. We take them right over the 14-inch steel cutoff saw and we cut them. Now that this is done, it's time to start on our walkway. We want our walkway to tie into this patio, but we're going to be doing a border on it with the 6x6 Onyx as opposed to a ribbon. The pattern we lay is a randomized inlay. There's 3 different sizes in the Eva Teco paver, and we just randomly put all 3 in there, but we do not ever stack up or double up on the same paver. Now we get our border, and we lay our border in the way we want it to look. We want a bunch of turns in here, turns and bends, so we lay it. We mark it all the way down when we get the look where we want. And then after it's all marked with our Milwaukee Inksol that writes on anything, we start with one side first. We peel off any extra pavers because we always overlay. Now it's time to hook the hose up to our wet saw and we cut the entire way. We cut all the bends and angles in so it looks like it flows nice. Then we peel back the pieces. We cut all the way down. Same thing with the wet saw, so there's no dust. It cuts nicer and there's no chipping either. Now that we got the nice waviness that we wanted, now we put the pavers on the inside after peeling the outside away, and we measure. We wanted to maintain a certain measurement here. In this case, it was 42 inches. So we set our paver border in on the outside. As you see, if the cuts are done right, it goes right up snug and it flows. Then we put our inside border in. We keep the same measurement throughout so that it will follow the same look. Our 42 inches all the way around, we cut and we place them in. Now that the entire border is in, we have a lot of dust to blow off. So we take care of all the dust. If we're using a blower here, make sure you have a mask so you don't breathe any of it in. Now you have to hose the entire patio down because you do not want to get any of that dust to stain the pavers when you put the polymeric sand in. When setting the pavers themselves, you beat them all down with a 4-pound dead blow hammer, but it'll be on a perfectly compacted base that already has pitch. You're really not hitting them down too much. You're just compacting them as you're doing it. Now that the whole border is set, it's time to do the concrete paver edging. We do the paver edging instead of the plastic stripping because this keeps it from pushing out. We go 8 inches down by 6 inches wide and we float it out with a mag float. We just literally mix up bags of concrete mix for this. Then once again, we blow off all debris. That includes leaves, that includes sand, that includes dust. Now it's time to sweep in our G2 polymeric sand. We use the commercial grade stuff. This is a slate gray in look. We sweep it in with a push broom first, then we get a whitewash brush and we comb through each joint individually so that it is 1/8 of an inch below the paver itself, so that when you rinse, you put on the shower setting for the water and you rinse, you're not washing out paver dust. You're just wetting it to water activate it. You do it on the shower setting for 30 seconds. Each area, you start at your highest point and you work down to your lowest point. You rinse all the white off, that is the glue itself. You could take a blower, get it off entirely, and here is our finished look. This is our wet look. I personally prefer the wet look. I think it looks best when it's wet. Now that everything's done, we get our topsoil, and it's time to rake and spread. We bring everything in. This finishes off our patio. There will be grass seed put on top. It will all grow. We have our grade out the right way. And then we'll be growing grass in the spring, and it will all tie in and match. And we had to build up in certain areas. You can see that, but that will look all perfectly uniformed come spring. Thank you for following. Don't forget to subscribe. Here's our princess.